Hello and welcome to the Confusion Wrestling Podcast, the last bastion of independent wrestling. I'm your host, Rob Kammer, and of course, we're going to start the show off with a cheap plug. I know this podcast drops on a Friday, so you don't actually have a lot of time to do this if you're not already aware of this, but SCW Pro Epic, the WrestleMania version of SCW Pro, is the 25th of April. That is this Saturday or tomorrow if you're listening to this day of. So be sure to be there. It's at the Stern Center in Rock Island, Illinois. So if you're in the Midwest, well, not just the Midwest, but if you're in the Western Illinois, Eastern Iowa, come check it out. I'll be there. Come say hi. I don't know. I would say punch me, but then someone's going to take me up on it, and then my wife's going to have to beat you up, and none of us really want that. But yeah, so come say hi at SCW Pro Epic, 6 p.m. bell time at the Stern Center in Rock Island, Illinois. The former Kalisto Samurai del Sol is making an appearance. Unfortunately, cannot make it into the ring due to injury, but he is going to be there for meet and greet purposes, so it should be a lot of fun. Meanwhile, this week on the program, we have Beck Reeves' Case Closed on the program. We spent a lot of time, I'm not gonna lie, more time than I intended, talking about Destination 6 wrestling. No offense intended to them, but we just kind of hit the ground running, and we just kept going with it because it's such a unique situation. We try to tie things back into Beck's career and his point of view about things as well. But he's hanging out mostly over in the Ohio Valley area, but he occasionally comes over to the western part of the Midwest, which is how I discovered him. Once again, thanks to Destination 6 for that front. So we had a really good chat, and yeah, I don't know, really how else to put him over outside of, he will, puts on a memorable show for anyone who happens to watch that isn't familiar with his work, so be sure to check him out. And in the meanwhile, we should just go ahead and check him out in 2 minutes, right? So let's go ahead and just take a pause for the cause. Get yourself an energy drink, get yourself a coffee, get yourself a whole dang coffee machine, and we'll be back with Beck Reeves. Case closed. Hey, folks. The Confusion Wrestling Podcast has become a veritable hub of shopping and treats and all that sort of good stuff. Whether you need a sugar-free alternative to energy drinks in the form of Raise Energy, or maybe even, top-of-the-line ice makers, coffee machines, and other household appliances, all through my links section. All you got to do is wander down to the descriptor of this week's episode, check out the various links, click on them, and go shopping like you normally would. Heck, it's no difference. You just came in and just said Rob sent you. And that way, you can get the things you need, maybe even at a discount, and the podcast gets a kickback as well. So be sure to check out those links. Thank you very much for listening. Back to the show. And we are back, ladies and gentlemen. Once again, back in the studio. Very special guest today. Sometimes he's an investigator, sometimes he's a Ronin, but either way, he's bringing the fire to us one way or another. He is Beck Reeves. Case closed. Beck, how are you doing today, sir?
I'm doing excellent. It's a beautiful Wednesday over here in Cincinnati. How are you?
I'm doing well. We finally got ourselves a batch of good weather over here in the Illinois, Iowa side of things without tornado or something, which usually comes after the nice weather. So we'll see what tomorrow brings. But, can't complain about the weather today. It's a rarity.
Hey, that's good. That's good. Over here, it's usually partly cloudy. And today it kind of started off with some rain, and it's just been beautiful. I had a picnic earlier with my girlfriend. So, yeah, things been pretty good over here.
Sweet deal. Always the Confusion Wrestling Podcast, where you get all your weather throughout the country. This time we're working on the Midwest. But in reality, sometimes we talk about wrestling on this here podcast, and also notoriously all over the place. So instead of starting with the usual never before asked questions in podcast history, I actually want to kind of jump into your more recent career, because I discovered you at Destination 6 Wrestling in Macomb, Illinois. And I want to bring this up specifically, on two fronts. One, because Destination 6 is a unique place, unique venue, unique ring. But two, you were in an Elevation X match. Like, have you ever done Elevation X before, or was this your first time doing it?
Oh, dude. Okay, so no, I've never been in any kind of variant of that match. I've never been in a like TNA, they have Ultimate X, same deal. Never been in any kind of match like that. Never really thought I would be in any kind of match like that. And I remember when I was talking to the promoters, um, they hit me up randomly about, hey, you're gonna be in this match. And I'm like, oh, okay. Like it was just a big surprise to me because I thought, like, like who am I to be in that match? Like I had only worked there one other time. So it was really cool to actually be a part of that.
And when did you find out that you were like, in terms of like that booking? Like, when did you find out that it was going to be Elevation X? Did you come in originally like thinking you're just going to have a regular match or a regular, I don't know, like scramble, and then just like, oh no, we're hanging the belt up from crosswires and hope for the best?
Originally, okay, so like I mean, this is like very insider baseball, I guess, but originally, they were trying to get me on board. I my schedule just wasn't like aligning. Because around that time, I had some commitments with like other promotions, like Northern Wrestling Federation, my home promotion, and Unsanctioned. Um, because they were both like running a lot of big events, and Unsanctioned they run over in Columbus. They run every third Saturday of every month, just like D6. So um, plus the drive, like I don't mind ever making a drive like that, but I just wasn't able to, and my car, all this stuff, just like all the excuses. But then they hit me up and they're like, "Hey, what if we put you in this match? Because we think it'd be a really good fit for you." And I'm like, "Oh, yeah, that'd be cool." But my situation's still like, I can't guarantee anything. But then things opened up. And we talked further about it, and I'm like, you know what? Yeah, I'll be able to make the dates. And I thought they were gonna fill it in with someone else because I think I was like the last person added to that event. And then they said that I was in the match. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. I guess I'll get to do some crazy stuff. I mean, I love doing crazy stuff, but I just didn't expect to be in that kind of match. I kind of just, I don't know. It almost felt like I don't know. It just kind of felt like it was meant to be, I guess. I don't know. I don't know how to end that, but yeah, never been in a match like that before, and that's kind of how it came about.
I like asking you like things like that for those who are willing to talk about it, because I in a much earlier episode talked with a wrestler named Theseus, and
Mhm.
he participated in his first casket match. And he found out he was in a
Okay.
casket match when we all found out that he was in a casket match. When they, like, he'd just been like, yeah, like, this is my home promotion, of course I'll take your booking, and thought he was just gonna have a regular match with a guy he'd been kind of feuding with. And then like they announced one day on social media that he was going to take on, I think it was Jack Valor, who's now just signed with the NWA. It's going to be a
Yeah,
casket
yeah.
match, and he's just like, and Thesis was like, okay, yeah, I'm glad you guys told me about that. Like, luckily, well, it's a casket match. It's not anything terribly dangerous or like that unusual per
Sure.
se. But like, he's just like, I'd like to some heads up. But I think that, but I hear that, I hear like things like that, and it's like, okay, I gotta dig. But also kind of like, while on the D6 bandwagon, they're known for their six-sided ring as well, and being in a
Mhm.
church. So like, again, like, these are the
Yeah.
questions as a nerd I like talking about. Is, how often have you gotten to take part in a six-sided ring, if ever, prior to D6?
Um. Yeah. No, I've never worked in a six-sided ring before, and like, just to like make a note too, like the six-sided ring that they have, it's not even like a regular like hexagon. It's kind of like a rupee shape. Like if you ever played Legend of Zelda, it's kind of like that, like where it's more
It's
rectangular
oblong.
in the center. Yeah, like it's like really like wide. like I've never wrestled in a ring like that wide before. Like if we omit the like the triangle like points, this is like my best way of describing it. Um, like if we just look at the rectangular shape itself, I don't think I've ever been in a ring that was that long. It's really unique, and um, it makes you think, like, at least for me, some people maybe not so much. Like, they already have their own like kind of like core move set, repertoire, whatever, things they do in the ring. Um, every time I'm over there, I'm always thinking to myself, okay, how can I use this ring differently? And not that I couldn't with the Ultimate X match or Elevation X match. But I'm going to be more focused on climbing as opposed to like the inside dimensions of the ring itself. But yeah, it's that was my like I've only ever worked in a six-sided ring with D6, and yeah, it's always been a good experience too. It's at least not as like damaging to your body as some people make it out to be, but this is also not like 2002 TNA either, you know what I mean? Their ring, I imagine, was way more stiff than what D6 is right now.
I've heard people not be so kind about six-sided rings in general, and I don't want to
Yeah.
speculate too much because I've never built a ring, so
Hmm.
like I'm unabashedly just a fan. So I've only I only see things from behind the barricade. Like maybe if I hang around way too long talking to people, like I can see a ring being torn
Hmm.
apart, but I don't know the mechanics of it. And in the case of D6, like that's their home, like they own the building, so their
Yeah.
ring doesn't get torn down, so it's still there.
Hmm.
It's there when I show up. It's there when I leave, regardless of how late it is I get out of that building. Um, and then just like kind of like a last question to kind of go about it because it is such an interesting thing. But like, it is an old
Yeah.
church. Like,
Yeah.
have you like, for one, like, what's it like wrestling in a venue like that? And then like two, like, is that like this? Is that the strangest venue you've had to work in, or like, what is the strangest venue that you've gotten to wrestle in?
Oh man. No, so I've worked in many churches.
Oh,
Not like a
really?
ton, but but that's not like the first time I've ever worked in a church. There's a promotion in Indiana called Wrestling Theology, and they normally have their events inside like some kind of like a church or a Christian facility. Um, and the NWF, I think they're gonna have another one here next month, but there's a church over here in the Cincinnati area. It's called Seven Hills, and it's like one of those like super mega churches, and they have like a youth service over there. And last year was the first time that we ran over there, and it was just like a one-time thing, so it'll probably just be like an annual thing. And there was like over 1,000 people there, just like teenagers, and it was really cool. And uh weird setting. Um, on the top of my head, I can't think of the weirdest place that I've wrestled in or at. Um, man, but like I don't know. There's probably gonna be like some silence here. You might want to trim this down. I don't know. Most of the places I usually work in, like I wrestle in, are churches, breweries, outdoor facilities, or like festivals, fairgrounds, that type of thing. Gyms, of course. Um, yeah, like I'm sure if I like went on my notes app, I could like find something fun, but yeah,
Eh.
I haven't done anything crazy or whatever.
I don't know, it's just one of those things like I really like as a fan because the one of the beautiful things I think
Mhm.
about independent wrestling is that it can be basically anywhere, anytime, and like I mean, if we really going to go on a tangent, it could be anything at all. But just
Yeah,
you never
yeah.
really know what where it's gonna be. Like yes, we always think of like your rec centers and your bingo halls
Mhm.
and like various festivals, but again, like we're especially now we're seeing like an uptick in like various breweries or brew pubs that's got some that's got some space to them. I'm actually surprised we don't see more like like wrestling in churches, because I just think to my youth of how we had like Power Team USA and like the various people who would do like school assemblies. Like, so I'm kind of surprised there wasn't like some more like, I don't know, religiously themed like wrestling troops, almost like kind of like harkening to like the British and European wrestling camps.
Yeah,
Just the
yeah.
um but it's just like, I don't know, as I said, like it's interesting, and like I look at like, especially around these parts, like D6 is kind of like the shining example of being different, just because they have the six-sided ring, they have the church, and like in their case, like their church setup is very much like, instead of being in the round, for those of you who haven't listened to this podcast before, it's not wrestling in the round. Like there's a VIP section one side, and then the other side of the venue is where everybody else sits. So like there's two sides of the ring that's completely barren of folk for the most part. But like I think like just some of those things, just like as a wrestling fan, is really interesting. It's like one of my favorite little diatribes to get off on.
No, I totally agree, because that's one of my favorite things about indie wrestling is like the setting, the atmosphere, the visual of it all. Because like you can wrestle pretty much anywhere, and I'm not even talking about like no ring matches where sure you can wrestle anywhere. Like there's that viral clip of Beastman like wrestling in Popeyes. I don't know if you saw that. They just enter a Popeyes and they just start like brawling, like Beastman, this other guy, I forget his name, it escapes me, but yeah, they're just like running around, and you can tell the people at Popeyes, they're not in on it at all. Like they just like decide to go into the Popeyes and start wrestling. Um, Another promotion, I don't know why I didn't bring this up, but Armbar Pro, which is over in outside of the Dayton area, the Springfield, Ohio area. There's this place called the Springfield Metropolis, and it's this giant older church, and it's like a beautiful like cathedral, and inside it is like really atmospheric, and there's like a giant like stained glass in the background, so you get like a nice beauty shot of the stage and the ring, and above the stage is that stained glass. Is really cool. um but yeah, like I don't know, like that was like always something on my bucket list too, was to wrestle at a gas station. I remember Brian Danielson said that one time he wrestled in front of two people at a gas station, and he said like at least like one of those people that were there were just pumping their gas. Like I just think that's so cool. The idea of set up a ring, like I assume at a gas station and not next door to whatever, and then the only people that are there watching are the people that are like pumping their gas, and they're kind of just like looking over. They're not even actively like processing what's going on. And then they just leave. Then you're just running spots with people with no one around. I just love that concept.
I like, some gas stations are just like shady enough that like
Yeah.
people just wouldn't think of anything of it. Like I tell the story about like how some like rando guy tried to buy my car like at a gas station. Like I pumped gas, went inside to go like
Trying to
pay
buy
for
your
it.
car?
Yeah, he's just like, hey man, you looking to sell your car? And like there's no signs on my car. Like, and there's nothing indicating I'm trying to sell my
Oh,
car.
okay. Okay, so
Like,
he's just trying to mess with you. Okay.
evidently. And I'm like, nope, I need my car. He's like, okay, well, if you change your mind, you know where you can find me. I'm like, are you Jay? Or do you hang out in front of this gas station officially? Like, is that your thing? Like, I have never seen you before in my life, sir. Like, but like,
Okay,
did he
so
like?
like if he buys your car, is it with or without the gas being pumped?
That's also a valid question. Like, there's so many questions I didn't think through just because it's just like, WTF, matey? Like, and
Yeah, yeah,
I
it's so
was young at that
absurd.
point. I was young at that time, and I really needed that car. Couldn't afford another car, and probably not. I still couldn't afford one with what he was going to pay me for it either.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
like,
probably not.
yeah, gas station stuff. It's crazy. Or I think DDT did like a
I,
pop up
I had a
match.
quick. Oh yeah, DDT. They've done
That's his
so
own
much
special.
like stuff like that.
That's their
Yeah.
own special induction of weird, beautiful wrestling. Because I
I
just
had a
remember
question. Going back to D6. Um, Sorry if you don't mind. I was curious. Like, what did you think of that Elevation X match? I'm curious.
I felt so bad for
Be
everybody.
honest. Be honest. It's okay.
It was a clusterfuck. Uh, I because they had the classic
Yeah.
I and I like D6. This is not me like trying to call them a shindy or anything. But for
Oh
the
yeah, yeah.
people who didn't see it, like the X fell off, and then like they had to like they didn't really want to do the like, oh, whoever picks it up off the ground first is the winner. So then they turned it into like a scramble match arbitrarily. And so like I spent a lot of that match being confused, not gonna lie. Like even as a veteran of watching all sorts of crazy wrestling, I spent a lot of that match being confused, and I felt really bad because I like asked, or especially went to go see Oliver Kane, friend of the show, in his quote
Mhm.
unquote return to the company too, and like,
Yeah.
and he was in that main event, and I'm like, oh no, what's going on here? Because the X done fell, and now it's a scramble match, and then now the scramble match ended in like 2 minutes, like after like after it previously ended, so there was really not much of a point to even like really have continued the match at all. Like I don't
Uh,
I and I know things happen, cards subject to change, but yeah, like I spent that just being confused as to like what's going on, and I felt bad for all of you guys. Like I don't even know like what goes through your head and things things like that when you have to change it like that much on the fly like that. Like I mean, we could pull back the curtain, and like
yeah.
talk about how much people like to prepare for their matches, but like you basically had two matches in one, and I don't think it ended properly for either of those plans.
Yeah. Like, um, it's so like, yeah, not to get like too insider baseball with it, but just to like explain, when that happened, I was the first guy to notice. I looked over and like I looked over, I'm like, sorry, like, okay. So I looked over and I was like, oh shit. Um, that's not supposed to happen. So then I'm like, fuck, I gotta retrieve it. I gotta grab it, right? And I'm with a brother and I'm like, hey bro, like I'm not supposed to go over, so you should stop me. And like as I'm saying this, he noticed it too. So like we both knew the deal. We weren't sure what was gonna happen because in that moment you can't like think of a strategy or anything, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So when when the other dude, Ashton, when he grabbed it, we were like, okay, I guess the match is over. Hopefully they restart it because like okay, so like I wasn't supposed to win that match. Part of me was like, I should just grab it. Like, fuck it. I should just get it because hopefully they restart the match regardless. But like I don't know what's in their mind, you know what I mean? Like we didn't like plan any of this out, you know? Because like why would you? Anyway, so the referee, he doesn't have an earpiece, so he can't hear from anyone. Or if he did, he didn't say that we're starting the match. So referee was kind of confused. Took him like a couple extra seconds to ring the bell that the match was over, did that. Then the announcer comes out and says we're restarting the match. And I'm like, okay, cool, thank God. Okay. We're back to square one. We're good. And then he announces it's a scramble match. And I thought I heard him like, wait, what? Like, he didn't say scramble match, did he? And no, he said scramble match. And I'm like, okay, well, um, again, super insider baseball, but like we went into this match psychology wise that it's an elevation X match, not a scramble match. So I know we're all thrown off. We're like, okay, we just gotta wrestle. We just gotta beat each other up and tell our own individual stories differently. And so the bell rings, and I'm like, all right, let's see what happens. And then everything's going fine, but we get to a point where everyone is just hitting, like taking turns hitting big moves on each other. And I told Ashton, hey bro, I'm not kicking out. The Enziguri's your finisher tonight. I was almost gonna like try to get something else figured out, but I'm talking to the referee and he's not even sure what's going on. Um, so I tell Ashton I'm not kicking out. Referee doesn't count three right away, and that's all right. It's whatever. You know, we're all trying to figure shit out, and it is what it is. There was a bit of a delay with the finish. That's okay. At the end of it, I just kind of felt bad that the fans, like you included, like were kind of like shortened a good main event, and that happened. But like I don't know. I guess like sometimes shit like that happens. I don't know.
Yeah, I
Uh,
mean,
it is what it is.
yeah, and at least like looking at the bright side of things, one, I mean, at least fans like me like have gone to D6 before, so like they know, like we get our money's worth usually, and the show
Mhm.
before, up to that point too was great. Things happen, and
Oh
at
yeah,
least
the show
if
was
like
killer.
yeah, and at least if things had to break down this way, at least it wasn't because somebody was injured. It was mechanical
Yeah.
failure above a head. It's not like you guys were covering because someone low key, got seriously concussed or broke their leg or, whatever. It's just
Mhm.
like, oh, the X fell down. And now because we are a lower level independent company, we don't have earpieces and a production staff to, to give orders on the fly. Like things just kind of break
Yeah,
down.
they weren't about to
And
pull out a ladder and then climb all the way up and rehook it just for it to fall down again. Because
yeah,
that X that they had was like new. It was super sharp, super solid. The chain, I guess, just wasn't strong enough. I don't know how it broke off. I know it was when I speared the guy while he was hanging on, and I guess like his weights kind of pulled it down or something. I don't know.
yeah,
I don't know.
and it is what it is, and like that's, I mean, anytime we have like dare I compare wrestling to theater, this is what happens when we're live, pal, and
Right?
things break
And
or
stuff like that happens in TNA. Like,
it
it
happened,
might
yeah,
have
that
been
like that happened.
yeah, like was it an Ultimate X match where something similar like that happened?
Yeah,
At
like
least
and they
once.
yeah, and I did that, like yeah, like it fell down. And I can't remember if they even like restarted because I don't think it was the main event. I think it was just for the X division, so it was early in the card. And I think they just went like, oh,
Yeah.
like the referee caught it and like handed it to like Petey Williams who like knocked it down because I think it was like and anybody can get in the
I want
comments
to say
and
Chris
correct me, but
Sabin, yeah, Petey
yeah,
Williams.
yeah, it was like one of the two, either Sabin or Williams, like was on the X, like
Mhm.
like they fell and then the X fell too, and that wasn't supposed to happen, but the ref was just like, here you go. And like that was the match. The person who touched it last, that wasn't the referee, was your X Division champion. And I mean, it's TNA. They're probably going to lose the title next week anyway, because I think that was during Russo's secret booking run.
Oh
But
yeah, what an era!
I don't know. There's a
Iconic.
reason there's a reason LOL TNA exists. It's because stuff like that happens. But
Yeah.
the difference between TNA and Destination 6 is TNA has a big budget.
Hmm.
But it's crazy go nuts. The beauty of independent wrestling, as I said, like yeah, it was weird and confusing, but at least it wasn't because anybody got hurt. And like and with a match like that, like the stakes are so much higher than just a regular kind of match, because now everybody's climbing, and Lord knows they always have one person who doesn't know how to climb or is never been, not a high flyer.
Well, for my situation, I don't remember if it was them or no. I'm thinking of a different company. But like, I've been described as, oh, you're a high flyer. You like to jump off and do shit. And I'm like, not really. So like in that match in particular, like I think you mentioned it before the show started, how I was just hanging up there and I was just holding on for dear life because I'm just scared shitless. That was just gonna be me the entire match, was just me not actually trying to retrieve it because I'm so scared being up there. So in a way,
I
I'm glad that it fell down.
see. I just think like because I mean, not that I okay. I'm not sure I'd even like be involved with it, but like Lord, because I'm terrified of heights. Like I can't even think like
Yeah.
I can't like realistically, I can't even like think about jumping off the top turnbuckle, and because that's how bad I am, and like compared to most normal folks, I'm a tall dude, so it doesn't take that much for me to be extra scared and be a wimp about things. So like anybody, like I think I did, like because I took a picture of you like military like hugging militarily
Oh, yep.
hugging the cable
Yep.
and put it up on the socials, and you're like, I look tough in that. I'm like, man, you're up there, so you're tougher than I am.
Oh, that was you.
That was
Okay,
me.
yeah. I love that picture. I have it
It's
saved in my phone.
it's actually I mean it is a really good picture actually. Like
Oh,
and it wasn't it wasn't like there wasn't a whole lot there. I don't think there was any snark with the comment. It's just like here's action from Destination 6, whatever the show event name was, and
yeah.
like here's guys looking tough and throwing punches or throwing each other over the head, and then just here's Beck Reeves like
Yeah, I'm
legs and
praying for
arms
dear life.
wrapped around a cable 15 feet above the ring.
Man,
But
I have so much fun when I'm over there too. Like, and because like I can't recall anyone ever in an Ultimate X match or any kind of match similar to that where the guy's in there and he's just scared of climbing. So I wish I could have showcased my fears a little more to you guys, but it's whatever.
well,
Maybe that'll
and
be my only time in that match. They people see that match and they're like, okay, we're not putting Beck Reeves in that ever again.
I mean, I feel like the way the venue set up, it would be hard to tell that story anyway because I don't know, like depending on where you're at, like it
Mhm.
is hard for the people in the pews, well, the lower pews, we'll
Oh,
call
yeah,
it,
there's always going to be some people in the
who
very
can't.
back. Yeah.
Yeah, because like
Hmm.
because it's the top is slanted down, so it does like cut off a little bit from the back pews of the first floor. But like
Mm.
I don't know. But like as a whole, like again, like D6 is kind of an experience because the crowd, every time I've been there, the crowd has been loud and raucous, and which
Oh
is
yeah, it was a great
like
crowd.
and it's impressive because I mean they don't pack that many people into the show because it's I mean it's
Hmm.
not built physically not built for that many people, but they're loud. It's a college town and you can tell it
Yep.
because of how loud the crowd is, and it's I love it.
Oh,
Like
I
the
love the college town atmosphere. It's so good.
I and like and that's one of those like one of the like those are the crowds like as a fan I even enjoy. It's just like yes they can go too far
Hmm.
sometimes, but like I love like the going to wrestling at places where they don't normally hold wrestling, and so you have people who aren't necessarily wrestling fans or like not
Hmm.
following actively following wrestling like show up just because like oh it's wrestling let's go do it, or like oh well we're gonna be here, well like the fair shows we're gonna be at the fair anyway let's go check this out, and it leads to like some really cool crowd stuff I think just as a general because the crowd is usually really into it as a whole. And
On, if I can, like, I'm sorry if I don't sound humble when I say this, but like both times I've been to D6W, the crowd is just so loud and for whatever reason, like super enthusiastic for me. And like, I don't know, like that crowd's probably like one of my favorite crowds I've ever wrestled in front of. Because like every time I'm over there too, I get like a bunch of DMs from like random people being like, yo, I was at the show or case closed. And I'm like, hell yeah, dude. Um, and like when I was there for like the last event that I was at, there was like a huge like crowd on the upper floor that were like going like so crazy. And I'm like, those are my people up there. I don't know. I really love that crowd and the atmosphere is just so good. I just wish I was over there more. Um, but I'll be there in August. August 15th, I think it is when I'm supposed to be there next. So that'll be fun.
Hey, I can't say anything because they are they're a company that likes to schedule events like when I have real life events too. So like if I'm like
Mm.
there is one weekend a month I can't go watch wrestling, and that'll be the one D6 runs. It's that's which makes me sad because I love D6, and it's a drive for me. So I mean, not
Mm.
as bad as you because you're not in the state, but
Sure.
like, but I'm like, oh, you pick the one weekend where there's a wedding reception I have to go to, or it's a holiday weekend and we're observing the holiday on Saturday instead of Sunday or something like. I, but I've enjoyed
Well, you
D6.
you got to
So.
mark it in your calendar. You got to mark it
I
in your calendar, August 15th.
I actually so, because by the time they market it, it'll be too late. So I'll try to stall for time and mark that right now. And do question mark. And
That way
cool,
we can
there we go.
formally meet each other because
There we go.
I didn't get a chance to see anyone at the last show.
Well, and that's one thing I don't. That's my one critique, and it's the venue size problem. Is that it's not a great
Mhm.
meet and greet venue. Because like if you're selling merch,
Yeah,
like
there's really
there
nowhere to really meet.
yeah, like they're like most of the available space is taken up with seating. And so like
Hmm.
I guess it's a catch 22 because I've also been told like, oh, it's a terrible merch venue anyway, that no one wants to buy merch here for whatever reason. So I guess
Hmm.
if you're not making money on the deal, like there's not a whole lot of reason to go hang out in the sweaty masses. But yeah, like I that's one of the, like the little things like I'm like, oh, cool, this is gonna be there. I can finally talk to them, or because like they bring in cool people that like I'm a fan of that I just don't
Oh
get to
yeah.
see terribly often. And I'm like, well, they're not brave enough to like figure out a table, so because like I even like I referenced Oliver Kane. Like I went to kind of like
Yeah.
explicitly like go see Oliver, and but yeah, he didn't have any space out there either. So like he basically found out like when I yelled like a couple of things at him directly like before the match, and then like I slid into his DMs afterwards since we're buddy and all that good stuff. But
Hmm.
you know, it, you know it is what it is. But yeah, I'll try to shout things or scream obscenities or find like some in joke from this interview that hopefully you remember too, and well,
Okay.
call it good.
All right. Well,
Um,
if we don't have one by the end of this, we'll make up one.
there we go. And but we talked about the crowd and kind of like how hot they are for everything and like how over you get over there. And I think, and we'll kind of tie this into things that maybe aren't D6 related because they've kind of monopolized
Yeah,
the
yeah.
conversation as a whole lot. But I think part of it
Yeah, I'm
is
done talking about
cool.
them. Let's stop talking about them. I'm kidding. I'm sorry.
The beauty of a podcast that doesn't have a script or a set list of questions is we just go wherever, and regular wrestlers know that I don't have like I hyper focus or don't have an attention span. It's one or the other.
There's so many
But
people like that in the business.
right. Um,
Mhm.
but we can sit here and spitball and theorize like how you get over, but like I think part of it is just the kind of like I don't. It's not necessarily a call and answer, but it can be real quick. But the catchphrase of "case closed," and you chant it enough
Mhm.
times, it can get over. Because I found that worked with a guy from Arizona who worked like one weekend up these round parts. Tommy Two Scoops Test, and he just chanted two
Okay.
scoops all the time. And like somehow we went from nobody knows who he is to like one of the most over people in the show, just over just like in a 10-minute period because he would just two scoops and then like would try to body slam people, and it worked. But again, for your case, like I think the case closed thing, like it gives people a hook right away, even if we don't know anything about Beck Reeves. And I'm not gonna lie, like I didn't know what a
Yeah.
Beck Reeves was until I this good looking guy with long hair comes out screaming "case closed" at us, and so I'm like, well, that's interesting because nobody else is coming out screaming "case closed" at us, or
Yeah.
anyone who
Yeah.
wants to interact with me is just going "come on" and raising their arms and doing generic pandering.
Yeah. Yeah.
But so like not being super familiar with your career or your career up to this point, where did the case closed thing come from?
Oh, dude. Okay. So originally, when I first started, I didn't have like the catchphrase stuff in mind. Like, part of me wanted to be that guy, kind of like I don't know, like a CM Punk, where he's like, no gimmicks, no catchphrase, nothing. I mean, nowadays he kind of says, like best in the world, or he will just say CM Punk and let the crowd chant that. But back in the day, I thought I would be too cool to even worry about catchphrases and stuff. But so when I first came up, my trainer Roger Ruffin, he came up to me one day and he's like, Beck Reeves, true crime junkie, yeah. And I'm like, yeah, let's do it, dude. And so I debuted. I had no idea how to portray what a true crime junkie was. I don't really listen to true crime or any of that stuff, but I tried to make it tangible. So I shifted it into a like PI gimmick. And one day we were doing promo class and I'm like working on promos and I'm not the best promo, or rather I need to like I got to be in a certain mindset to really like hammer down a promo, decently. Um and I was struggling one day, and so then someone else, this guy Tony Bryant, he's been an NWF guy, my home promotion. He's been an NWF guy his whole career, and he knows a lot. And he suggested you just end it with a catchphrase, say like case closed or something. You're a PI, and I'm like, you know what? I'll just give it a shot. Like I thought it was a little corny, but I kind of like corn, I kind of like leaning into that stuff sometimes. So originally I was just saying it whenever I hit my finish, which is the sliced bread or Nui or Destino, like all variants. Um, but then like a lot of people in the crowd would say it, just like I'm doing my entrance, my walkout. So I'm like, okay, maybe there's legs to this. And so I've always been a fan of RVD, Adam Cole, and I did know that if I didn't necessarily want a catchphrase, I do want to repeat my name in some way, just like they did, because of just to be recognizable, just to kind of get it in people's heads. So I was trying to think of like my own version of that. So at some point, I think it was like last year in January, or maybe like December of 24 or something, I started saying Beck Reeves case closed, and just to see how that would fit. And as soon as I started doing it, like I noticed it was really getting over with like a lot of people I didn't even know, people outside of the wrestling sphere, like people at my work. Like I would tell them what my gimmick was, and I would say Beck Reeves case closed. So people just refer to me as Beck Reeves. Sometimes they'll go, "Hey, case closed," and I'm like, "Damn, y'all really like this." So that's kind of where it came about. And some days I'll just say it a couple times. Some days I don't even have to finish the whole thing. I'll just say Beck Reeves, and the whole crowd knows what I'm talking about. Um, or if I feel like it, if I'm at a new place, like at D6, the first time I went there, I'm like, let's see how annoying I could be. And I think I said it about like 27 times, just to be real annoying about it. Just because of like what you said, like my wrestling may not be good or the most impressive, or my look might not be that impressive or whatever, but hopefully I get a little earworm inside you.
Well, and I mean, it sets you apart, in ways, even if it's not just a direct brain word. Because so many guys just want to come out and
Yeah,
be like, "Yeah, come on," or "Let's go insert town name here," and like
yeah.
the
Anyone can do that.
yeah, and the curse of independent wrestling is that like unless you are firmly established someplace, like this is going to be the first time you see, or the crowd, or a good chunk of the crowd is going to see you. So like
Hmm.
what's the best way? You need to stand out, and you know let's be realistic. Like the talent pool is so deep nowadays, just in general.
Oh yeah.
Like being a 5-star worker, putting on the best match of the night and getting all the Meltzer ratings you can, it isn't going to cut it in terms of like making you stand out, because there can be a whole card of that. And so like what else is going to be there for people to know who Beck Reeves is, or who insert any other person is
Mhm.
being different. If you're not going to dress to be the loudest thing in the room, it's get an earworm or get like some sort of character quirk that
Mhm.
is going to stick with everyone. And I think in the case of like something easily chantable, like it works if you're trying to be a good guy, if you're trying to get everybody on your side because it's a nice catchphrase. Or on the flip
Mhm.
side, you could just be, like, as you put it, be obnoxious and just shout it out 27 times. And maybe if people
Yep.
are annoyed with it, they'll still remember you. But they'll be like, "Oh God, will he ever shut up?"
Yep.
And as long as you're getting a reaction like that, that's the impression you're going to make. And as I try, I say I'm not doing things just to blow smoke up, my guest sass, but like, hey, got you on this podcast for better or for worse, because case closed. Like, okay, I got to start following this guy on the social media, see what he's about. And you made an impression on at least one neckbeard. I don't know if that's going to get you any more bookings or not,
No,
but
no,
like,
that means the world to me. I love hearing that. Like seriously. Um, it tells me I'm doing something right. Like if one person can hear that and go, okay, like yeah, person A just did a bunch of cool moves, but it's kind of a blur to me at this point. I just left the promotion. I know that it looked cool, but I remember Beck Reeves' case closed because he said his name a bunch of fucking times. Like that tells me, okay, that's working. And it seriously means the world to me whenever you or anyone just decides to look me up or give me any kind of consideration, just because of whatever wrestling that I did, like it's cool because then it just validates whatever I'm doing.
right. And I think this possibly is easier to pull off than trying to figure out how to basically be a podcaster as a gimmick and then translate that to once the bell rings. Like,
Yeah. And that's kind of one reason why I kind of dropped the PI thing. Like it's like a soft drop. Like I didn't like reinvent my whole look and gimmick per se. I've just slowly like kind of become my own thing. Um, with the PI thing as like a foundation. So like me saying case closed, it's become less of like, oh, PI thing and more of oh, Beck Reeves in this match. I know the result. Case closed. It's just like a fun little trendy thing. So just my little tangible little thing, my gimmick.
well, and again, it's something that it doesn't take a whole lot of work to introduce to the
Yeah.
lexicon of people. Like, you don't have to go out of your way to figure out how being a PI is going to work into this promotion that you've never been in before. Like, why does this
Hmm.
promotion need a private
Yeah.
investigator? Now you got to come up with this whole backstory on, like, I don't know, even like try to find people to work with to kind of like shoehorn things into why you're being into it, because man,
Yeah.
and it just, and then even then, like once the bell rings, like how does that convey everything? And like that, I think with character work, a lot of times, like that's the hardest part, is figuring out. Like, it's easy to cut a promo about as a character, but how do you wrestle as a character? And
And can I go on a tangent about that too?
oh, go on all the
So
tangents you want.
okay. So um I I genuinely love the concept of being a PI wrestler. Like there's so much you can do with that. And like I'm sure I'm not the only person currently that does a gimmick like that. You know what I mean? Like there's definitely like some guy in the Midwest alone that's doing something that I'm doing, and probably way better because um I'm not committed enough to the gimmick, like if I'm being honest. Um and I think my home promotion, for example, they they like their gimmicks, but at least the way I would translate the PI gimmick, I don't think it would work with the NWF. Like they're not a super indie. You're they're not going to be okay with me bringing in an evidence bag in the middle of a match, pulling out like a wrench and planting evidence and telling the referee, "Hey, like they're trying to kill me with that thing." And then, like all that stuff I think could work in other promotions and other territories, but I just don't have the reps to be able to pull that off. So um it's kind of like I've had some ideas, like I've like broken people's fingers before by like being like, "Hey, let me check for fingerprints. Let me see their fingerprints." And then the referee's like trying to comply with me and everything, and then I take the heel's fingers and I just break them real quick, snap them like I'm Pete Dunne. Um, and then twist their arm up, go into a spot, whatever. But like the last time that I actually used the gimmick was December 24. Uh, my buddy John Hayes, over in the Cincinnati area, he trained to be a wrestler, but like he never actually like wrestled or did anything with it, because he ended up starting a family. But he's like really big in the punk scene over here. Like he's in a few hardcore bands, and in my opinion, the best way to describe him is just being the heart and soul of DIY hardcore scene over here in Cincinnati. And he runs a thing called Santa Mania, and it's just like a weekend long like music fest every year for the past like 12 or 13 years or something like that, maybe 14. He's been doing it for a while. um where it's just a bunch of like local um punk bands, experimental artists, hardcore bands, just playing music all day all night, again for a whole weekend. And the past 3 years he has had at least one wrestling match, and it's a no ring match. So it's like a bunch of hardcore stuff. And I, fortunately, have been able to do it all 3 years that he's done that. And the second year he did it, it was me and a guy named Lord Crew. Um, dude's a fucking beast. And he's been in a bunch of hardcore matches, a bunch of no ring matches, and that was maybe like my second or third. So I was kind of like, in uncharted waters with this match. And I'm like, you know what? It's a hardcore match. Let's do something different. I've never really used my PI gimmick the way I wanted to. So we used my gimmick in that match. And then after the match, I thought to myself, okay, I think this gimmick's retired. And I'll leave it at that. Because we did a bunch of fun stuff. We did, I got the caution tape out. Um, this is not PG, but I really want to tell you about it. So I had some evidence bags with me. One of them had thumbtacks, Um, another one had some DNA evidence, and I pull it out. It's a small little jar, and it just reads DNA. And what's that? Some crime scenes, some white substance. So I like unscrew the DNA, and like all these like people that are watching this, there's like maybe like 300 people there. All of them don't even know what wrestling is. They're just like a bunch of like hardcore kids. And as soon as I pull out and it says DNA, everyone knew exactly what it was. And I said, I'm gonna make him swallow his DNA. And so I unscrew it. He beats me up. He pours it in my mouth. And then I do a little Muda mist with it to catch him off guard. I put him through a door. It was a fun time, and I'm like, okay, there's no way this gimmick will ever be topped, so I just left it at that.
Oh, that is beautiful. And now I want to know that there's footage out there that I can find on the intro webs.
Hey, dude, I'll send it to you. It's not the best match, but I'll send it to you, and
I
maybe you'll get a
mean,
kick out of it.
I as I said, like I want to be entertained, and sometimes sometimes it's a 5-star match. Sometimes it's just dude swallowing DNA.
Yep, it's just DNA. Yeah, no, I
Uh,
hope one day, I hope one day, I'm about to be signed to like a WWE ID contract, and then they see that footage and they're like, "Oh, nope."
literally handed you the contract, and like you can see the phone ring and a
They
little
open up
video
Twitter
pop
and they're
up.
like, "Yep," they open up Twitter and they're like, "Oh no, this kid's trying to kill the business. Let's not."
I mean, to be fair, I'm surprised that something like that didn't happen in the Attitude Era. Like, let's be realistic.
Yeah,
Like,
I'm sure. I'm sure someplace like what is it? Like no, yeah, I'm sure some other promotions have done something similar, but never to that degree.
though WCW did have like the DNA match, except it was blood that they were looking for. Uh,
Oh, yeah, okay. That's fair.
uh, and like, yeah, I mean, welcome to WCW booking on that one for figuring out who's who's Stacy Keebler's baby daddy, since it's not David Flair.
Ah, that's right. Yep.
And then it didn't really, and then it didn't matter that David Flair lost the match. He busted open Bagwell and like stole some blood anyway, and just ran off cackling. So
Yeah,
wrestling.
classic WCW.
But oh, I don't think we're going to top that even conversationally either. So I think this will be a good segue into where can we find you in the coming weeks to support you in person? Where can we find you online to support you via social media? And if you got merch or any other things you want to plug, you plug away. This time is yours.
Awesome. Thank you. So you can find me on social media at the Beck Reeves for Instagram, X/Twitter, Blue Sky, and I just made a TikTok. I don't really use Blue Sky because like no one I know uses it, and I'm not good with that side of social media. Um, TikTok, I'm trying to figure out. So if you guys follow me on there, like look to expect stuff there. I'm always on Instagram. You can find me on Facebook. You know, you can type in at the Beck Reeves, um, or just search me as Beck Reeves. You know, add me, follow me on there. I'm always active there. Um, yeah, like I wrestle primarily in the Cincinnati region. I've been getting out there a lot since last year, at least in the Midwest. Looking to get out even further. Um, yeah, just follow me so you can see my escapades and you know, take a picture, say hi, DM me, anything.
All right. Thank you for coming on the show. It's been a blast for talking with you before and even before and after I hit the record button, because Lord knows I'm a gabby little man. But it's
Oh,
great
I
being
love it.
able to.
No, thank you so much.
The Confusion Wrestling Podcast is a weekly podcast that is written and performed by Rob Kammer and hosted by Spotify for podcasters. The background music for this section is Ruined by Day, performed by Alan Schroeder. If you enjoyed this podcast and would like to help support, please like, subscribe, and tell your friends, family, and enemies. Leaving a review is helpful as well, because word-of-mouth advertisement is very important for us small podcasts. My social media links can be found in the description, but Twitter, Instagram, and Blue Sky are at The Nova of Cass. That's TheNovaOfCass, and Facebook is MLW Confusion, all one word. If you'd like to support monetarily and help upgrade my equipment, please check out my virtual tip jar at ko-fi.com/Casanova, or if you prefer more bang for your buck, go to patreon.com/Casanova, that's CASSONOVA, where for as little as $2, backers get access to the podcast early and without those pesky ads, plus other exclusive content. So join the crew that is headed up by Keith Wynn, Alan Schroeder, Chris Zach, and Elenia, and check it out. You can also find t-shirts, coffee mugs, and other merch at the Confusion Podcast store on Teespring. Also, be sure to check out the affiliate links in the description below. For business inquiries such as ads, sponsorships, and etc., please email rzkamer, Kamerer, at comcast.net. Thank you all for listening.